Should have raised topic number 3 tonight is race first politics inherently a male trait? I thought that was an interesting prompt. This is going to take us to YouTube.
You know, and I understand her because I also have a friend of mine who were talking in the girls group, and she was telling us about it, and another friend of ours also advised her. She's like, you know what, don't limit yourself to just the black man, because your soulmate could be white, even if they colonized you.
Oh my god. Oh my god,
She could be
to
white.
add that last bit.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the whites colonized the black people. Some people still don't understand interracial couples. You understand? Because someone was saying, how can you still date your colonizers? But sometimes your soulmate could be in another race. I don't judge girls who date outside that race. I understand them because what are you going to do? You're going to be pushing 50 on your pro-black men? No. I mean, if you want to date outside, date outside. And last remarks would be, you know, by the way, you dating another race doesn't mean that you may find love there also, because men will be men.
Yeah.
Black, white, red, green, whatever color it is they are, men will be men. Not to say you won't find love, but I'm just trying to tell you, don't think you only deciding to date white men will make life so much better. You know, but personally, I am pro-black, okay? Yeah. I'll be pushing 50 with a black man.
Aww.
Inshallah.
Yes.
Well, yeah, guys, tell us what you think in the comment section.
It's your boy Neferkari Desaline back in the building. Yes, indeed. And today we got to talk about black woman says your soulmate might be a white man, even if they colonize you. Let's get into it. Now, before we get started, I just want to say, dark skin shorty on the right, gorgeous as ever, Jonita, I love you, baby. If you get in that comment section, man, make yourself known, make yourself seen. And I liked how she cleaned it up at the end. She was like, listen, regardless of everything I just said, even though I just co-signed my girlfriends in the group chat talking nonsense, I'm rocking with the black man. So it is what it is. I'm not going to, go too hard on her for that. But we got to dissect that statement. We got to break it down to its smallest molecule. Now, one thing that all men must know, and I'm not just going to talk about black men in particular. We're going to talk about all men. One thing we should all keep in the back of our mind. This is something that our forefathers knew. This is something that our ancestors knew. This is something that, was common knowledge in ancient times. And today we might have forgot it. But in case you didn't know, concepts such as nationalism, concepts such as dying for the nation, concepts such as honoring and protecting the legacy of your ancestors has always been rooted within a masculine energy. Those are masculine things. That's why men raise up armies. That's why men conquer and defend territory. That's why men die on the battlefield. That's why men take pride in dying on the battlefield and take pride in our ancestors that died on the battlefield. These are masculine things. The things that men value, it's not the same things that women value. And this is something that all men must understand. This is something that men have understood since the beginning of time. And maybe up until recently, we might have forgot that. And I'm going to back this video up with historical references that are relevant to today that you can kind of gather from that women don't really, hold things like nationalism and other different concepts. You got to understand, bro, women are not sitting in the library, reading up on the ancestors, reading up on different battles that happened in the 16th century, reading up on this general that led his army into battle, in this territory. Women are not, they're not worried about that, bro. Like, women are worried about whole different things, and the things they worried about, we're not worried about. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you got to understand, this attitude is nothing new. You know what I mean? When she says your soulmate might be white, even if they colonize you, even if they, committed atrocities against you, you can still look past that, because you got to understand, this is nothing against them. Women are wired to look out for the best interests of themselves and their children. They are wired to look for the best opportunity for themselves and their children. And if that means that you got to click up with the enemy to get that done, it is what it is. Like I always mentioned before, on my video, I speak extensively about the Haitian Revolution. I'm like an encyclopedia for the Haitian Revolution. It's something that I've studied and been taught about since I was a very young boy, right? And one thing that you notice in the Haitian Revolution, what did the women do? Apart from the women that died on the battlefield with the men, like how Jonita said at the end, like she said, regardless, win or lose, how it goes, I'm rocking with a black man till I'm elderly. You know what I mean? Those type of women during the Haitian Revolution, they were the ones that we read about that was, standing on top of the walls in the battle, shooting at the French soldiers, loading up the cannons and blowing them away. You know what I mean? The women that we look to as queen mother figures, the women that we venerate, that we honor and respect, as historical legends, right? But guess what, bro? During that time, every woman wasn't built like that. A lot of women, yes, a lot of black women during the Haitian Revolution, they ran to Louisiana, they ran to Philadelphia, they ran to Cuba, they ran to France with the white boys. Yes, indeed. And on the other side as well, there were a lot of French women. When the black men came into power, when the black generals started controlling territory in large amounts, when the black men started controlling large armies, guess what? There were a lot of French women from the elite circles as well, the multi-generational colonial plantation owning families. Yes, when their fathers got assassinated, when their brothers got ran out of town and had to hop on a boat and get the hell up out of the island, a lot of those women switched sides and started rocking with the black men. They started getting involved with black men. They started becoming side chicks to black men. And the one thing that I'll give the Haitian generals that I'll always have respect for them for, when you look up who are their wives, who are their main chicks, who are the ones that, you know, carried their name, who was the ones that sat beside them on the throne, it was always a black African woman. You know, them brothers, I'll give it to them. They were smashing on a lot of white women back in them days. A lot of rich white women was in their pocket. But at the end of the day, when you look, who is Christophe's wife? Black African woman. Who is Desaline's wife? Black African woman. Who is Toussaint's wife? Black African woman. Now, they might have had, you know what I mean, 15, 25 white side chicks, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, them brothers kept it in the race, you know what I mean? Because they had a different type of mentality. They had a different type of mindset, right? So, like I said, every woman is not going to be like Jonita, how she said, look, I'm going to rock with my men until, you know what I mean, the end of time, until I'm old and gray. A lot of women ain't going to rock like that, bro. A lot of women going to rock with, you know, what's in the best interest of them. You know, going back thousands of years, when an invading army came through and started swallowing up territory, started slaughtering the civilians, the women, for the most part, were not going to hop into battle and pick up arms. Of course, you had that rare breed of women, right? That rare crop that was like, listen, I'm defending my territory, my nation. It means a lot to me. I'm rocking with my brothers. I'm rocking with my sons. I'm rocking with my husband. But a lot of women was like, listen, I surrender. You know what I mean? Like, listen, I rock with y'all. You know what I mean? Why do you think Genghis Khan, you know what I mean, that famous warlord from centuries ago, they said that his DNA is scattered all over Europe and Asia when he was going around swallowing up territory, conquering territory, running through lots of women. When he ran through them territories, the women flocked to his army. They flocked to his generals, and they flocked to him specifically because he was the king of the whole operation. So it's not that women, you know, don't really understand the concepts and the implications of history. It's just they see the world through the lens of what is the best for me and my children. You know, what is the best for the long-term vision for me and my children? And if that means I got to click up with the enemy, it is what it is. Women going to do that, bro. Women going to do that. Every woman is not going to stand tall like the, you know, the illustrious women of the Haitian Revolution or the illustrious women of the Guadalupean Rebellion in 1802, led by General Louis de Gresse. You know what I mean? Like, every woman ain't built like that, bro. It is what it is. You know what I mean? You have to get in power, and you understand that when you're a man in power. When you understand, when you're a man with money, when you're a man with power, status, things like that, you see the different ways that women operate and behave around you. It's almost automatic, bro. Once they get around powerful energy, once they get around wealth and opportunity, they operate differently than when they're hanging around someone who, in their eyes, can't offer the same thing. Now, sometimes they bet on the wrong horse, right? Because there were a lot of women who, like I said, when they ran to Louisiana with the white man, it was like slavery and Jim Crow for like another, 150 years. So they bet on the wrong horse. You know what I mean? In their minds, the French colonists was the proper long-term vision for themselves and their children. They were like, I'll be safer there because the rebellion was going crazy. You know what I mean? We burning down plantations. You know what I mean? We slaughtering civilians. So maybe in their mind, it was safer to hop on a boat and get up out of there. But then they had to deal with over 150 years of lynchings, Jim Crow, all type of craziness that was going on in North America during that time. They didn't even really get civil rights until damn near the 1970s. So imagine those women who left in 1792, they bet on the wrong horse. And I think that's what Jonita was talking about when she said, look, even if you go outside your race, quote unquote, that doesn't mean that you're going to find success. That doesn't mean you're going to really find what you're looking for. Because one thing the women did not touch on in the video, and I wish they did, is that going to a quote unquote white man, what does that even mean? Okay, you're going to a man who is melanin deficient. Like, what is that supposed to mean? Is that supposed to, like, you know, offer something for you and your children? Because the average American makes about $50,000 a year, right? Around, give or take, you know, I'm just speaking for where I'm at. And the average white man is around that ballpark. They think that the average white man is like Cecil Rhodes, you know, commanding an imperial empire, you know what I mean? Controlling mines and diamonds and gold and standing armies. And like, bro, the average white dude, just a regular dude, you know what I'm saying? He work at AutoZone. He works regular jobs, you know, like an insurance agent, you know what I mean? They be working at the gas station, you know, car dealerships, like regular stuff, you know what I mean? Like the average white dude is not Napoleon Bonaparte, you know what I mean? Just like the average black dude is not Denzel Washington, you know, is not LeBron James. Most people are just regular dudes. So if you're talking about, I'm gonna go from, you know, regular black dudes and into, you know, regular white dudes, I mean, the only thing that you are making a different step in is, okay, you're going from a melanin rich man to a melanin deficient man, but both men are just regular men. One dude working as a bus driver, the other dude, he's a substitute teacher. What is the step up? You know what I mean? Because if you can get an elite black man, then you can get an elite man of any race, right? But if you can get an elite black man, then you wouldn't even be in the group chat with your girls talking about, even if he colonized you, then we can still get with him. That obviously reeks of desperation, and a lot of chicks, let's be honest, man, they talk a good game and they got a good presentation, but a lot of them is lonely, bro. Like I mentioned before, lonely emotionally, financially, they on their own, they independent, they got to pay their own bills, they got no help. Even physically, a lot of them don't even got a man to even come through and smash them, which, depending on how you look at it, that's a perfectly fine thing. I'm not supporting women just being out in the street, you know what I mean, just letting everybody smash, but a lot of women are lonely. And once you are talking like that, you're talking about, man, even if he colonized me and committed atrocities against my great-great-grandmother, I can still get with him. Like, you got to understand, the desperation is off the meter at that point. You know what I mean? So the only thing you can really do is just, hopefully that person gets it together. You know what I mean? Because I don't think any beautiful woman is going to talk like that. Like a woman that's gorgeous, top 10, like fire. She not talking about, even if he colonized me, I can still get with him. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, if this is what's going on in y'all group chats, man, listen, I don't even want to see what's not being mentioned in public. Because listen, I have never heard none of my brothers, none of my homies talk about, well, at the end of the day, we men too. So, men fight wars against men. So it's not like we're going to be fighting wars against women, women coming in, conquering territory and colonizing people. I don't think that's how it's going to go. So men would never say the opposite. But like I said, we see the world different, men and women. You know what I mean? Men honor different things. Like nationalism is a big thing for men. Our ancestors, our cultural legacy, keeping that alive, we are willing to die for that. If you a man, who got your head on straight and you understand where you came from, you understand your history and your origins, and you take pride in that, many men will die for that. Women are not really about to die for that. You know what I mean? And that's not anything against them, because like I said, they work in the best interest of themselves and their children. So they can't really afford to just be, jumping off the cliff and dying for the cause and the rebellion. Men have usually historically been the ones dying for the cause and the rebellion. And on certain occasions, like the Haitian Revolution, like the Guadalupean Revolution, like even the Dahomey in West Africa, and even many other ethnic groups in West Africa, the women have picked up arms as well. But for the most part, in general, women are not really going to be picking up arms and trying to die for the cause and the race and the nation and things like that. That's what men like to do. And that's why I have a channel. I speak mostly on historical facts, historical Black history, especially honing in on the history of Black men, our days of glory, our days of achievement. And for the most part, my audience is, I'm assuming, mostly men. You know what I mean? Like, unless I talk about like trending topics and things like that, I'm not expecting to have a whole bunch of, baddies in the comment section, big booties and just, just looking good. I'm not expecting, my comment section to look like a Chris Brown concert with the topics that I talk about. I'm expecting it's going to be a lot of men in the comment section, because this is what men talk about, when we smoking our cigars and we drinking our beers and we hanging out, we talking, we talking politics, we talking history, we talking about the economy, we talking about the different implications of different policies. So obviously, when I have 5 sisters, so I understand the conversations that women have amongst themselves, amongst the group chat, and the way they see the world is going to be different from us. And that's perfectly fine, bro. That's perfectly fine. It's nothing that's specific to Black women. Listen, like I said, Chris Brown made that song, right? What's that song? How it go? These hoes ain't loyal. These hoes ain't loyal. It's the facts, man. It's the facts. But that's why when you have a legendary woman that really stand on business and really ready to die for the cause and really ready to die for their people, stand by their men and die beside their men, men honor that to the highest degree. That's why we talk about the women from the Haitian Revolution with the honor and the respect and the dignity that we speak about them with. You know what I mean? Because that is a woman that is cut from a different cloth. So it is what it is, man. It's your boy Bakari Desaline back in the building. Yes, indeed. And I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in that ass, and I left.
Yeah, sorry about that. This The4Kast was kind of babbling there, but he makes some interesting points. I'll be curious to hear what the gentlemen on the panel have to hear. If there's any of the ladies in the audience who just listen to that and you see the prompt on the screen, just click the invite link pinned to the top of the chat. Join us. I'd like to hear your perspectives on this as well. Is race first politics inherently a male trait? Let me mix it up a bit. Let me start with Oni on this one. Oni, what say you?
Yeah, so what I'm gonna say is this: I don't really agree with the woman bashing kind of thing, or like dividing the genders like that. I think trouble with our community is that a lot of us go by pseudoscience in a sense. So I think when he was explaining that women look after themselves and their children, like yeah, that's true, but like so do men. But men look after women too, and women and children, and they look after themselves, obviously. So, saying that there are women who ran away, there were men who ran away. You know what I mean? And saying that there were men who fought, there were women who fought. And that's just a constant. Like the reality is that there is going to be women who fight. There's going to be men who fight. Obviously, men are going to fight better than women, and men are going to fight more often than women. But that's because you really shouldn't have women fighting. You know what I mean? Like if you're a man, it's like don't buy into Mulan. If you're a man, you should fight before your woman fights. And that's just a principle that we've had even in Africa. So it's just so I wouldn't personally, bash women and say, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. I think, again, like I said, the pseudoscience is rampant in our community. So you have this idea of soulmates. When you have the idea of soulmates, you're already operating on pseudoscience. You know what I mean? So obviously you're going to come up with some sort of pseudo, like you believe that, the only way I'm going to have a successful relationship is if somebody on the other side, like somebody mysteriously was born to be somebody who can suit me, right? That's pseudoscience. That's stupid. But if you just said, hey, you know what? I can get a good relationship if I become a good person and I meet somebody who also became a good person, or I meet with somebody who I can work with who can become a good person. That's not, oh, this person's my soulmate. That's how you can sustain a feasible relationship. But if you're operating on, hey, I could only have a good relationship if I meet the right person who just happened to be right for me, notwithstanding my flaws, right? You're gonna end up 50, 60 years old with nobody. But that's what happens when you operate by pseudoscience. And I think that would have been the angle that I would have taken if I, came across this sort of thing. But like, yeah, this whole, oh, well, men, we fight. Yeah, you're supposed to. You know what I mean? The Yoruba said, men are the fence, women are the garden. That's kind of like my philosophy right there. The fence fights, or the fence defends, and you're defending the women so that the women don't have to fight. Because if you understand human biology, right? We go back to science. If you go understand human biology, women are really valuable for children. Like they're really valuable because children are so weak and dependent. You need to. So, but I'm not going to try. I'm trying not to babble. So what I'm going to say is that, yeah, I think I wouldn't do like a hit piece on women. I think everybody fights. Everybody goes after their best interests. Everybody runs from conflict. Because like the same how she's saying, hey, the same way how he's saying men fight, but then he's saying, hey, the French man left with the black women. So if the French man left, he's a man, he didn't stay and fight. You know what I mean? My point being that, yeah, I don't think that like I just wouldn't do a hit piece on women because and again it just doesn't really make any sense. Do women have race first ideology? Yes. Do men have race first ideology? Yes. Do women not have race first ideology? Absolutely. Do men not have race first ideology? Absolutely. I don't think it's I mean, I'm not going to say that men, I mean, it's possible. It's possible because like he was documenting different subjects. It's possible that some men do take to war interests more than women, but that's really more to do with socialization, and not just socialization, but like socialization and curiosity. And I think also, yes, men, because of our testosterone, we might be more interested in combat. Like I was low key surprised when I think it was Marcus McGee. I think Marcus McGee. I think she said something about boxing, and I was like, why she watches boxing? I don't. You know what I mean? But like it is a little bit more surprising to see. But again, like times are also changing to where. But I didn't want to say times are changing. Like legit, there's a lot of women who are fans of boxing and stuff too. They're not as vocal, and they might be more dismissed, honestly. But like obviously, obviously these rappers that we tend to think is a male thing, or these or whatever, they all have women fanatics, because otherwise these boxers and like these athletes wouldn't have all these women around them. And I just think that, I'll just say this though, I just think that when he says, hey, men go after these people, or women go after these people, or women leak power, or women do this sort of so forth, men do the same thing. And that's all I would say.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus McGee. Marcus McGee is a guy, by the way. Marcus McGee Jr. And also shout out to Bobby Wright. I haven't seen Bobby Wright or Shoot the Breeze in the chat in a long time. But shout out to that brother. Hope he's well. With that said, let me hear from Brother Bakari. What say you?
Well, okay. First, I'm glad that beautiful black woman finished her conversation with saying she's pro-black and she got her a black man. And when she say how the white man, even though they colonize you, could be your soulmate, I don't agree with that. Now, if you go, but I don't agree with that. This dude never, whatever the hell, man. Oh my God, I was glad when you finally stopped that. Cool. I might have to give you some more money in your damn super chat for stopping that. But that's something. That's why I don't listen. I would listen to some of his videos, but the stuff he did is the reason I stopped. He have videos saying any black woman that's saying she's pro-black, they date white men. He always bash women. And he was talking about a man is supposed to go to war. Why is it black people act like if a man decides to go to war to protect the community or to do whatever, we're doing something special? But when you look at every other group of people, it's their men that's going to war. Their women is not on the front line either. But so a black woman and a person like him, and a person like that, but they can't win in no situation because if they decide to stand up and fight, he would scream, look at her. She's trying to be like a man. So then now if they don't fight, he's criticizing them for being a woman. But did y'all notice how he gave black men passes for having white women? He kept, but they married somebody black. All the side chicks. What the hell? So that is okay for a black man, or it was because you're a general. So if the black man can have side chicks that's white, which I don't agree with either, why are you mad? Because a black woman, that black woman, she wasn't even good enough to be the side chick to the black general, because he wanted white women. Once he got power, he wanted white women. So she left with a white man. Everything he said, every statement he made was like hypocritical. The whole everything that he was saying, he just sounded like a hypocrite. He sounded like a real hypocrite. Say one thing, then say something else. He'll say one is okay for the man, it's not okay for the woman. I'm not gonna even go through how many women fought. We know we had our women fighting. That could be part of the problem. That we had too many women fighting and not enough damn men. That could be one of the problems, but those are one of the things that he do. He's like some of the things I've heard him also. He's like the opposite of the FBA and ADOS. He like gonna always be pro Haiti and pro Caribbean. He's I don't. But then he say he's pro black and he talk about it. He's a little confusing, and I listened to a few videos and then I stopped and I hadn't heard him in a while because he rambles. He rambles a lot and shit. I think he's confused, and I don't know what part of New York he in where the average black man is making $50,000 a year. Maybe that's the average salary in New York. I don't know. And I don't know. He like to put themselves on. I don't know, man. It ain't much I can say about that, but all that damn rambling and he wasn't making sense, and it was black woman bashing, but at the same time giving black men passes for doing the same thing that he say black women like to do.
Yeah, keep it balanced. I agree with that, Bakari. Keep it balanced. Don't turn a blind eye one way or the other, right? With that said, let me hear from Buano. Buano, what say you to what Bakari and Omi had to say as well?
Yeah, so black women have been socially more race loyal than black men. Why do I say that? If you go on a website called blackdemographics.com, you would see that black women marry other black men into the 90% percentile, whereas black men marry black women into the 80 percentile. So black women have been more race loyal socially towards their race than black men. Now, I don't go as far as Brother Bakari, who thinks that the black woman is Yahweh, but I think that I venerate black women, especially good black women. I think good black women, I venerate them, I respect them, I honor them because I know it's been my experience, personal experience, that they are absolute riders. They are riders, and if I also say in terms of relationships, you see, so call they riders, why you do this, why you do that? Well, I have not been as a rider as they have been, but I think that they have been riders. I think that black women always been at the side of the black man in terms of socially, politically, and even in war. So I would never discount some black women because there are beautiful black women out here who about that life. So that's been my experience. However, I understand that the culture is changing. I understand that the temperament of some black women are, we're gonna do whatever we gotta do. We can try to get this by, but that's not all women. I think that divestors within our community have a large sounding board. And because it's so loud, you would think that black women ain't down for black men. But that's not true. Because I watch what people do, not what they say. And like I say, if the numbers are as such where black women marry their race into their race up into the 90 percentile, that says something. That says something. Are they loud? Sure. Are they annoying sometimes? Absolutely. But are they riders? Historically, they have been. I think that gene is still there. I think that is weighing sometimes because of the circumstances we find ourselves into. I think that because our own actions also also they tend to lose this fidelity towards us. But I think that black women are riders, and I can't discount them. And I think that they are more race loyal because they have done so in act, not in talking, in act. But like I say, man, we are in a situation where we have to prove ourselves, to ourselves first, and then to our women. And I think that when we prove ourselves to our women, ourselves first, I think that naturally they'll fall in line. And I think that a woman is not going to follow a man who have no guidance within himself, no instruction to the world within himself. No, he have no way, no plan to life, no way where he is going, no sense of direction within himself. How do you expect another person to follow that or come up under that? So I think that the onus and responsibilities lie with us first, and then we could be with our women. We need to straighten our shit out first, and then get back to them. I think that they'll eventually fall in line. That's what I really believe. And just to cut it short, I'll just leave it there.
I just say this to that. I think it's a subset of black men that don't have vision and don't have ambition and drive and aren't doing anything with themselves per se. And to be honest, because I'm not a black woman's God person either, but to be honest, I think a lot of black women choose those guys to go behind. I think that's the issue. They choose the guy who has no aim, no purpose, no destiny, and they choose that guy often. And I know the reasons why, but I'm not going to get into it here right now. But I think that needs to change. I'll just throw that into what Buana had to say. Also, Trigger Happy 262 in the chat says, "Nah, Buana, that's not a good argument. We have to dissect why black women are more race loyal. Marriage is not enough of a metric. Women socially are not supposed to propose in the West. Earlier, the matron said black women stay single because they can't find a black man. So I'd say we as women are more race loyal than the men." So yeah, so finally we got a woman to weigh in on this topic for us. If there's any other black women out there, you guys can weigh in as well. Bakari, you want to add something?
No, that was an accident. I'm waiting for everybody to speak. My hand was on the computer. I accidentally hit it. That's why I closed the mic.
Oh, okay, no problem. With that said, let's hear from Black Steel.
So I don't think that black women marry less outside their race because they're more loyal. I believe that black women aren't typically seen as desirable partners because of racism. So
agree.
they did a study on online dating that black women were responded to the least. So I don't think that black women are necessarily race loyal because they're just sticking with us. Other races don't really see them as marriage partners or outside of using them for sex. So we can see a lot of evidence of that within these crazy ass divestors. But to the video, staying on topic to the video, this dude, he was really contradicting himself in a lot of his statements. And I think that gender essentialism is really going to be the death of us. This idea that women do this, men do that, women do that, women don't really study history, women don't study battles. They do. And we've had several African women who led troops in the battle. We had, hell, Harriet Tubman was the first woman to ever lead American troops in combat during the Civil War. So this idea that women don't do this, women don't do that, at times of war, people do what they got to do. We can't excuse women being traitors or betraying their people as a result of their feminine nature. That type of treason can't go unpunished. She's looking out for her best interests. But the reality is that if these people conquer you, they're not going to treat you well. You're conquered. They're going to breed you out of existence. Look what happened with the Native Americans. When they got conquered, these Indian women weren't jumping to the white man. No, they got treated as sex slaves. So it's really short-term thinking. If these women are really thinking that, which I don't think they are, I think that, race first should be genderless, because at the end of the day, every one of us, black man, black woman, we're all under the gun. If by some, atrocity, every black man was to be killed, what do you think would be the fate of the black women who were left behind? What's going to happen with them? Do you think they're going to be left alone? I hear this type of logic sometimes from these alt-right divestors who feel like, racism is only towards black men. So if you leave black men alone, we'll be left alone. No, tell that to Breonna Taylor. Tell that to Sandra Bland. Tell that to, Rekia Boyd and all these other black women who've been murdered. I mean, you look at this high, the number of black women who die in childbirth, or the number of black women who, suffer, childhood diseases and whatnot. It's not a gender thing. We're all under the gun. I think we got to get past this thinking that men do this, women do that. And we're not going to excuse black women's treason simply because they happen to be women or they're following their feminine nature. No. You can get it too, sis. So I'll leave it there.
Bakari, you wanted to add something? Go ahead.
Well, first I want to say, Bawana, you right. Black women is not Yahweh. Black woman is God. So you right, because I don't know, Yahweh might be your God. But the black woman is God. That's what you came from, a black woman, God. But anyway, what I say, a black woman has been more race loyal. I try not to do the comparison, but on this YouTube thing, that's what it come to, and it come to gender banging. I agree with him. A black woman can get it when she sell out, but I don't think a black woman is loyal because they are not desirable. The black woman has been wanted by everybody. The black woman have been wanted by everybody. So,
but because wanted for what though? Wanted for what? Wanted for sexual access. These white men are not marrying black men.
Okay, I got you. But watch this. The black woman been wanted. The black woman has been wanted by everybody. And I can say the black man been wanted. That ain't nobody's fault that the black man go have sex with another woman and fall in love. All he was wanted for was sexual access. But when he get 3-4 quarters to rub together, now they gonna get half of that when they get a divorce. So to say the black woman ain't been raised loyal because somebody just wanted them for sex, they were loyal enough not to just go give their sex away. And I'm not trying to compare and do gender banging, because the thing about it is, like I said, they sell out, they can get it too. But I'm not gonna. Just like they can get it, the black men get it. I can't say the only reason they've been race loyal is because didn't nobody want them. I would never say that about no black woman. Hell no. The black woman been loyal. Why can't it be the black woman been loyal because she loved black men? That's my take on it. She's been loyal because she's been waiting on a black man. Like Matron said, they be 50, 60 years old, still waiting on a black man. Not because didn't nobody else want them. It was because they wanted a black man, and they wanted a black man to do right. So sometimes we have to look in the mirror. We have to look in the mirror and say, what aren't we doing as men to protect our women? Or how about sometimes a woman might want to protect her, might want to provide her. That's why sometimes they'll fall for, when it comes to protection, they'll fall for the wrong black man because he put on this facade like he's so tough and he gonna protect them. Me and Koku had that conversation. We've had a few conversations about that online. But so we have to look at ourselves and say, why is it our women is turning away from us? And why is it, if it happens, if it happened as much as it happened with black men, because I know black women, I know something said to me, what's wrong with us? Why is it if a black man want to do something, he think he got to be with someone else? I have a theory about that too, but I ain't gonna discuss it now. But that's all I wanted to say, to let you know, Bawana, you right, the black woman, she's not Yahweh, she is God.
Bakari, I'll say this. I'll say I don't think, if you go back generations, I don't think that statement is is particularly true. I think today, though, I think in this 2023, I think many, I'll stop short of saying most. I think many black women are ready to jump in bed with a white boy, but they don't have whatever it is, right? I'll just put it like that. They don't have whatever it is to be with the white boy. And I think what happens is, again, I'm talking about women in our age group and down, right? I think what's going on now is, I think there's some animosity in dating and in relationships between black men and women, because I feel like a lot of black women feel like they've settled. They settle with this black man by default, and it's not what they dreamed it would be with the bride or whatever. In fact, something I know for a fact, you'll go on like these dating sites, and black women are making. Many black men are doing it too. I wouldn't know, right? But I can tell you, black women are proclaiming, "Hey, I mean boldly, hey, I date outside my race." You know what I mean? And I find that very cringeworthy when I hear about it or when I have seen it. Right? It's very problematic. So I think that's the one little difference or caveat I'll put in what Carl said earlier, which I agreed to. But I'm talking about women today. I don't think our mothers and grandmothers were sitting up here, quietly hoping to be with a bride. But I think today's black women, especially if you go younger, I think that's what they're doing. I just want to throw it out there.
So let me ask you, could it be because when you used to go back to the 70s and black men started making a little money, and when they make them a little money and get some money, all of a sudden, when you see them on TV, they're on TV with their white woman? I'm just saying, like Reggie Jackson said, a black woman couldn't do nothing for him but make him a sandwich. So that was in the 70s. So then if we're talking about what a few black women decide to do today, and I still think it's race loyal. I don't think it's because they can't get nothing from a white man. I don't think they don't want a white man, and I don't know why we think so bad about women where we don't think they can be race loyal to us where they don't want nobody else. That's just my take. That's my take on it.
And plus, he said, just like he said about a black woman, a white woman can't do nothing for me besides call the police on me. I have never seen an old black man with an old black woman, or old black woman with an old black man. That's been my experience, but I've never seen that. I mean, Brother Bakari live in America, so maybe he could tell me. But I've never seen that relationship. Never. So maybe he see an old white man walking around holding hands with an old black woman. I don't really see that. I see the dynamic where if an old black man is walking down the street, the old black woman is carrying his bags, because she's the maid, So I've not seen that, So in my philosophy and how I look at things, I am fine where I am. I don't have to date outside my race. I good. My race is large and huge. It is vast. It go all over the world, all over the world. So what I might not find in one territory, I can find in another territory with a woman who looks just like me and who probably have the same cultural backgrounds and kinds of philosophies and thinking. And why do you need to run? Well, I guess that's people say that's preference these days. So I let the young people engage in their preference. After a while, they'll come to the reality of what is what. So,
see, like my oldest son is this, right? And we had this conversation, and he get mad with me. But if you go out and look, especially here, because the interracial dating here around the Atlanta area is getting outrageous. You see a lot of black baby mamas, and you see a lot of black men holding hands and marrying some else, and or living with them. And I know people personally, like I said, my oldest son, but he ain't the only one. I've seen black men. I see that all the time, and I know black men that have done that. So then you have a daughter with a black woman. Her mother wasn't good enough for you to be with. So now you want your daughter to come visit you while you are with this white woman. So what message are you giving your daughter that white is better? Or what message are you giving your son by a black woman and his mama wasn't good enough, and you with a white woman, she's good enough. So now what message are you giving your son? So I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to get into the gender banging thing until a woman tell me that She ain't there because she's there because she's waiting because nobody thought she was good enough. I hold on because I just know, like I just know women personally who would say they'll be by themselves before they date outside of their race. So, and I give Black women credit for that.
So I'm not going to keep it too much longer, but I will say this. I've heard Black women say the same thing. But what I kind of want to say is that, you know, when we kind of come with this gender essentialism, we see women good and men bad. You know, we kind of push this thing that, you know, it's the women who are loyal and the Black men who are disloyal. And when we look at the numbers, that's not really true. I mean, you're talking about 80% versus 90%. But again, there was, and I can put it in the chat, and this is just going from online dating. Two races, Black women, Asian men, were responded to the least. So the question is it Black women are choosing to stay within their race, or are Black women not seen as desirable outside of the Black race? I, being a Black man, Black women are the only women that I've ever loved, and they're the only women who've ever loved me. But that's not to say that Black women are race loyal because they just strictly desire a Black man. No, many times they try to step outside their race and they're being rejected. So these white women will go get, you know, have sex with a white man, have sex with a Latino man. He'll get her pregnant. But when it comes down to building a family, Black women tend to have the lowest interracial marriage rate. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that Black women aren't desirable to us, but I'm saying because of racism, Black women aren't necessarily seen as feminine. They're not necessarily seen as attractive for the most part, outside of a very few. This has been said by many a white man, many a Asian man, many a Latin man. So I'm just saying that are Black women sticking with Black men because they just don't want to be with nobody else, or because, hey, these white dudes ain't really checking for them like that? I think it's more of the second one. They're not really checking for them. I think if the white dude is really checking for them, you would see higher rates of interracial relationships, interracial marriage with Black women.
I want to answer. I want to answer Pauline's statement. Pauline's statement say Rihanna. Rihanna say that a white good boy is feed her lobster and pasta, right? So I don't follow the rap lyrics. I follow the action, Pauline. So Rihanna right now pregnant with two children with a black dude from Harlem. So I don't know what she talking about.
Well, you know, she was dating what's his name, Ashton Kutcher from that '70s show. He was smashing her, but he
That's
didn't want to be with her. He was just fucking.
That song is that's not Rihanna's song though. I don't know who Ray is, but that might be Ray. Maybe it might be another musician. But that's that song. I got hoes in different area codes. Like some women did that song. Yeah. So that's the line from that song. I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I think that both Black men and Black women are seen as less desirable marriage partners from outside the race, but I think that white women, you know, like might get a, you know, like a power figure. Like some white women will marry a Black man off of, man, this motherfucker is pathetic. You know what I mean? Like I could get this guy to do anything type shit. But that's what I see. I don't really think that Black men are more desirable, as much as, like, I think Black men are used for sex too. Like I think generally Black people are viewed as sexual objects, you know, from white men, from Black women. But I guess that a white woman is more likely to marry a Black man than a white man is to marry a Black woman, because I don't actually know, but I think, but I also want to just point out this too. I think that when we're looking at these dating sites, when we're looking at these dating apps, a lot of the people online dating, and I'm not saying this is somebody who does it sometimes too, but like a lot of people on online dating are losers. Like they're not really desirable people. A lot of them are like generally, right? And like generally speaking, a lot of people aren't that interesting, so on and so forth. So you're gonna pass over most people. I think black women do have it tough in the dating scene. I don't think black men, like if a black man just wants to have sex, he could be like he could probably be pretty successful in dating. But most of dating market is kind of like, oh, who do you want to like be in a stable relationship with? In which case, I don't think white women are really picking black men for that as much as they're like looking for, you know, mandingo, if you will. And that's it. Like I think that both races and both genders are generally undesirable, but it just reflects differently when you look at the marriage rates. Because because I think white women have like there is like white women get treated better, like kind of like the same how Sister Pauline was talking about, like some black women expect to be treated better by white men. White women expect to be treated better by black men. You know what I mean? Obviously not better than a rich white guy, but it's like the caliber of black men that you can pull it's probably higher than the caliber of white men that you can pull. I mean, in some ways, I think it's the white man who says it, but he says that the white guy like the white guy gets the desirable black woman, right? And the black guy gets the undesirable white woman. So you know, like she's like 300 pounds or some shit. You know what I mean? And then so she can't get a good white guy, but a black guy is like, oh yeah, I got me a white woman. You know what I mean? And that's the big difference. And so I think that a lot of the undesirable black women are writing to these white guys, and the white guys are like, what kind of like you might be nice in your community, maybe, or you might think you're nice in your community, but obviously I'm not going to go for that. You know what I'm saying? But that's all I'll say.
I appreciate that. We're going to end at 11 p.m. So what I'll do is I'll just move on to Should It Be topic number 4. But that was a good discussion. Great discussion. Good responses from the chat as well. I appreciate everyone on that topic. As always, we can bring these topics, similar topics back and further the discussion.